Hello? Anyone out there? Just me? Just me. And hello. Not just me. Julian, hello. Betty, hello. Haran Dad took that up. I did not understand that. I still don't fully understand it, but at least I understand what you're referring to. AC. Greetings. It's still warm. It's still warm. But we shall persevere. Aspire and persevere. I see. Is this the live action remake? Is this the controversial one? Is this the good one? I don't really follow it. Gabriel, hello. Sorry, I should stop just like rubbing my face and actually be a little bit more attentive. You, hello. Okay, hello. Ah, I see. Okay, fine. At least I'm on the. At least I can pretend to be within the zeitgeist. Am I always standing? No. Like for a few hours a night, I normally sleep, and I you might find it strange to believe, but I don't sleep vertically. I stand to stream because I think it is more engaging for me. I think it keeps me more. I don't know. I feel like standing is, for me, it allows me to be a bit more engaging rather than sort of lounging back in a chair. And then I have a terrible, I have pretty terrible posture, and I'm a massive, and I find it very hard to sit still. So I think I'd just be forever, swiveling around in my chair. Queco, hello. So for videos and for streaming, I prefer to stand. Other than that, as soon as the stream is done, I am fully reclined back in my chair. It's just beer, melting. No worries. I'm glad it's used. Alpha Centauri seems to be one of the probably most far-reaching fixes I've done. It seems to be the one that people keep coming back to and using. Even though I'm aware there is a mod which is better, it's kind of nice that one that keeps popping up. And it was Alpha Centauri is definitely one of the most fascinating bugs I fixed, I think. Just the whole thing was absolutely fascinating. I keep hoping, I'm a big fan of Windows releasing new versions because I'm hoping they'll change some sort of internal details that someone was accidentally relying on in UB, and then that's free content. I've started. I'm so torn on the next video because I try and do one a month, so I've got to pick pretty quick what this month's one's going to be. I am 95% sure I'm going to do one on a C++ project rather than a reverse engineering project. I think just to break it up a little bit, and because it's a project I want to do anyway. So I'm going to have to kind of commit soon. We'll see. We shall see. Well, best of luck with your 4X game. I'm sure it'll be quite the journey that you go on. Right, let's stick myself in the little box. So, big news. I think the maths is mathsing. After the horror of last stream. Don't make a game from scratch. You'll be here for ages. You'll never get anything done. You'll waste hours trying to work out why your matrix multiplication is wrong. And then look quite to the fall. Okay, so click this. We're going to go through this whole song and dance again. Click this. Add a rigid body, select the rigid body, move the rigid body, maybe even just scale the rigid body, and rotate. Ooh, saw a bug there, the scale didn't stick. But anyway, oh, look at that, that's reset. Anyway, ignore that, we'll fix that in a second. I can definitely rotate and translate it, okay? Then we click the parent, and the parent moves with it. But more importantly, the parent rotates with it. And then if we go back to the rigid body, we can continue to move that without it spinning off into the distance. So I think I've pretty much fixed this issue. The scaling one was interesting. I wonder why the scaling wasn't holding. So if I scale that, once I select the parent, that stays the same. Move that. And if I select the body again, we're not updating some scale somewhere. I think I know what that bug is. Are you aware of the game engine Hazel created by a guy who worked at EA? Check out, done a collab with him. There's literally like an hour-long video of me and him talking about. I did a code review of Hazel for him. Okay, but that's mathsing. Sorry, we do have more than one. Let's have a quick look at what I changed. I am man enough to admit that I did end up having to ask the Clanker for a bit of help on the maths. I was just like, parent-child transformation with Gizmo, it's not working. And it was like, you fool, what are you doing? You basically, I think the key insight I couldn't get my head around is that Gizmo manipulate always works in world space. It's always a world space transformation. So you get the final world space transformation of the rigid body, and then you manipulate that. But I need to separate that out into a local transform. So what it basically said was, what you need to do is you get the parent, and then you invert that, and then you multiply the inverse parent by the new world matrix, which makes so much sense, because what the multiplying the inverse by the world matrix does is it gets you the matrix that you would have to multiply by the parent to get to the new world transform, aka the local transformation matrix. And then you just slap that in there. So it's actually quite simple. It's also like, make sure you use is using, which actually I didn't realize was a thing. Otherwise, because this is a immediate mode UI, right? Every time the code passes through here, it was executing this and it was updating the matrix, even if I hadn't moved it. So this is just like, only if you've actually made a change, update it. And then I assume that probably prevents maybe like small floating point drift and stuff like that. I don't know. It sounded good to me. Someone was probably suggesting this. I think it's just one of those things with streaming where like, I'm desperately trying to solve it myself. I'm desperately trying to like do it all from like, do the maths from first principle. Lots of people are suggesting lots of things of varying usefulness, shall we say. Not that I would ever discourage anyone from saying anything, but like not all the suggestions were correct. And yeah, I just got totally wound up with it after about 2 hours in this sweat locker. So if you said that last time, thank you very much. Apologies, I missed it. We got there in the end. So the scale thing, what I suspect that is if we go over to the rigid body, I think we need to do some tidy up here anyway, because I didn't touch this, but the set local transform and set parent transform are now largely the same thing. So we need to abstract that out into a helper function and tidy this all up. I suspect, interesting, it does store the scale. I wonder why, interesting. I thought I just missed this off. I wonder why the scale isn't sticking. Let's abstract this out first and tidy it up. So basically, I think these two functions are exactly the same, except that how it calculates the world transform are basically a function of the new information you have. You're either given the new parent or the new local, so you have to give it the cached one of the other one to calculate it, and then at the end you update one of them. Wrong window. Got the wrong window? Confused. Anyway, I'll continue. So let's... The days do be flying. Right, so let's take all this out, and we're going to do in an anonymous namespace. We're going to do, I don't know exactly what it's going to be, but it's going to be something like auto update transform. And then all this is going to come from here. I've not written OpenGL, but I'm using OpenGL. So you always pass these in the same way. I'm just trying to work out which one, because basically I'm going to need to take. Am I going to template this? Basically, const u FPS matrix for local const u FPS matrix for parent, right? And so this is going to become local times parent, right? Or should I pass those in as transforms and do the casting internally? Could pass them both in and update them, yes. I don't know, I need to feel this out as we go along. And then I'm definitely going to want a UFPS vector 3 applied scale, right? That'll be a reference. I can update that. So let's try and, so it's going to go there. Oh, this might actually have to be a private method just because the amount of, I'm going to have to literally pass every single method in. Because I know C++ better than C, and in my personal opinion, I think it is better for large-scale systems programming. Do with that what you will. Okay, this is going to have to be... I really don't like private methods, but here we are. So we're going to have a... auto update transform. Indeed. Right, let's do update transform. I'm going to do const matrix for local const matrix for parent, and then see how I get on with that. So let's do rigid body. Put this code back where what it came from. Let's go get there, and then rigid body. I don't want to spend too long doing this because I think we really got to get on with that serialization code today. That's going to be an absolute nightmare. That I've already decided it's going to be difficult. It will deduce to void, but yeah, you're right. Let's be explicit. Sorry, I've been on the side project that I might turn into a video. Shocker! It's very heavily templated, so it's just lots of like auto return types. Do I have a video reverse engineering hypervisor bypasses? No, I'm tempted to do one, but it just sounds like a massive project, and when I only really have like 1 month to do a video, I'm not sure whether that's going to be one I want to focus that much time on at this point. I don't like private methods because my view is that the header file, because I'm not using modules, is the header file is the interface, right? If you were to ship me some code in a compiled library, you will have to give me the header file, right? So all I know is what the header file exposes. So the private functions somewhat kind of break that. Do you know what I mean? It's like here's something you cannot call. Do you know what I mean? Like here's the things you could have won. What I really would like is just here are the things that you can call on it. In that sense, C has kind of absolutely perfect encapsulation, right? Because you have a header file and then you forward declare some type which you don't have any access to, and then you just write all your effectively public functions, right? And then the C file, the translation unit, has the actual definition of that. So, well, this is it. This is where it always breaks down because private members are there too. Whereas if you have like C has actually kind of perfect encapsulation, and it's one of the few things I'm kind of jealous of. I don't know. I would always rather shift the helper functions to anonymous functions at the top of the translation unit where they don't pollute the header file. it also means you can kind of change them without triggering recompilation from the header files then. That's kind of it's one of those things I was kind of advised on my first ever job, and it just very much has stuck with me. Whether it's right or wrong is kind of neither here nor there. But I've got a system and I like to stick to it. Okay, so now we can do this. This all works. The question at the end is like, which one do we update here? I guess you could update both. It just means it's one of them's got a redundancy, right? Let's just keep it simple. We'll just do local transform equals local parent transform equals parent. I could template it, but then I would have to then move that into the header file, which is exactly what I don't want to do because this class isn't really that templated. I could do tag dispatch and say which one you want to update because it is internally my thing. I think a mem copy is going to be pretty quick. Do you know what I mean? Like it'll probably SIMD that anyway. I think if you're updating one of these transformation matrices, you've probably got other optimizations going on. So let's just do, it should really be called update transforms now, shouldn't it, if we're doing both of them? So the parent one, so I want to do local transform and then parent, local transform and then transform. This is also now going to have to take transforms, I reckon. Bit of a Vim mishap there. Okay, right, so then I should be able to, in this one, just do, what's that, line 65? Good, absolutely delete that, take that with it, and then this becomes a CIB transform, parent transform, something like that. See if that blends. I don't want to spend too long on this. I've not used Z, so I have no opinion on it. Is that the one that's macOS only? I don't really tag correctly, if that makes sense. Is that on the Twitches? Let me have a look. Might even be able to do it live. Okay, let's just check this now works, because I'm really getting a little bit bored of this demo. Right, select the rigid body. Where's me handle? Move the rigid body round, rotate the rigid body, select the main body, move that around, rotate it, select the original rigid body back. And unfortunately, I might need to see if I can get this to continuously angle itself in world space rather than model space, because I think like this is going to absolute pain to move around, but it is what it is. And this seems to work. The only thing that doesn't seem to work is it doesn't like this. So if I scale that, I can still move this around. And can I scale the whole thing? No, it's crashed. Okay, still some issues around scale. Edit tags, Vim, NeoVim. There you go. Happy? English, code, CPP learning, programming. Is there an OpenGL tag? There is. Oh my goodness, I've been missing out on all those people searching for OpenGL and Twitch tags. What a fool. Game dev. Done. First, it is absolutely built into the game. Like this engine, if you want to call it an engine, it is an engine that will build exactly one game, and it's this game. So it will kind of be, it allows me to cut off a lot of corners in terms of implementation because I only have to do the bits that I actually need. Do I want to fix the scale now? Or what I'm tempted to do is not fix the scale now and maybe do that off stream because I don't think that's particularly interesting. What I think is more interesting is figuring out how we're going to do this serialization nightmare. So let's do that. And then I don't want, let's do that. So commit refactor set transforms. Okay. I played RuneScape an awful lot when I was about, I want to say like 14 or 15. It was the one that was, I think it's probably the original Java one embedded in the web browser. Started off, I think you still start off on the island, don't you? And then you have to kill some rats and then you go through. And I definitely got conned when someone said they could gild the edges of my armor, and I gave it to them and then they logged off. RuneScape taught me some incredibly valuable life lessons around trusting people on the internet. Yeah. So, and I'm prepared. I'm man enough to admit that that happened. I spent an awful lot of time grinding out the various skills. I don't think I really did any of the quests or anything. I definitely wasn't. I played it a lot, but I don't think I got very far, if that makes sense. Right, okay, let's talk about serialization. So we're going to have to go to... So, okay, we've got an entity, right? This is our kind of grab bag of things that can do things within the game, okay? So it has a name, and then it has some number of renderable things that are attached to it. It has some number of rigid bodies that are attached to it, and then it has a top-level transform and an ABB. Oh, is that going to... That's just local, isn't it? Sorry, I was getting ahead of myself. Local ABB. See, I don't remember the name. Maybe I should have committed. Maybe I think I just blanked it out. I don't think I really understood what like that kind of RPG game was supposed to be. Do you know what I mean? It was more just like my mates just getting on and just sort of like dicking around. And then when we got bored with that, we'd go to Habbo Hotel. So, you know, that's the kind of era of online games that I grew up with. Okay, so we're going to see which is a grab bag of things. This needs to be serialized. The whole point of this is that it needs to be able to go into a file so that we can get it back later. So we have a scene. No, we don't have that. We have a scene. We have a scene UML, right? Which is all this gubbins, right? This is all effectively auto-generated for us. Like, I don't think too hard about this because it all uses reflection within the game to convert structs into YAML file. So we serialize this description, and then elsewhere outside we can pull that description up, and then that gives us enough information to reconstruct an entity, and then the same for scene as well. So what you saw there was the scene in YAML, which is basically this, right? This grab bag of struct, and it handles nested structs and all that sort of stuff. So, and then entities, so it'll handle nested types. So the fact that we can serialize the scene means we can serialize the entities, means we can serialize all the things inside of that. Now, the rub here is that this doesn't currently handle the rigid bodies, and it obviously needs to, because we need to be able to bring back the level exactly how it was, including all the rigid bodies. So I think this is going to be the next thing to do. And I don't really know the complexities of this, so I think we're just going to have to start. So I suspect rigid body, so rigid body is just a handle now, right? So we go to actual rigid body, we've already started mocking out this description. So this is going to return. So this is kind of the design that I've come up with, is that things can expose a description struct, and then from that there's obviously the object's responsibility to fill that with all the stuff it needs, but from that you should be able to reconstruct the object. Now, I think there might be something clever we can do with checking for nested types in the future and automatically discovering these. But for now, like let's keep it simple. Like we'll just call the like description function on it, and that will yield that up. So we basically need to probably go all the way down to the leaf, right, in this sort of hierarchy of stuff, which is the rigid body. Figure out how we're going to what this description is going to look like, and then we can just plummet all the way up, and it should just kind of work? Question mark. No, I don't think I've ever written a line of Rust in my life, and I think that is absolutely like a bad thing. I think to my own like detriment. I have not really experienced that, mainly because like people ask me my opinion on Rust all the time, and people will be sick of me saying this, and I really should just like pull my finger out and do it. Like my opinion is that I don't have an opinion, and that doesn't really. There's only so long I can kind of ride that. Do you know what I mean? Before I should probably have an opinion. So I need to spend some time. I think. If I'm being selfish, the reason I've held it off is, well, there's two reasons I've held off looking at any Rust. One is I just have I've got content creation takes up an awful lot of time. So all my spare time is probably working on videos or cutting up shorts or streaming or stuff like that. And the other is that it sounds like it'd be a really good live stream. Do you know what I mean? Like, let me just like try and figure out Rust live with people. But I'm so ingrained in this project, I just don't know when I'm gonna have time to do it. So those give me enough justification to not looking at it. And all I'm really looking for is an excuse. Okay, so what's the description going to be? So we're going to need probably the... I think I'm interested in most systems programming languages because I think they all bring in interesting... They all have their own... They're basically all trying to solve the problems of whatever the previous sort of system language du jour was, right? So... C++ fixed what it perceived to be the problems with C. Rust fixed what it perceives to be the problems with C++. I think I'd like to try Odin and Zig. I'm not a big fan of just purely procedural style programming. Like I want like the ability to do encapsulation with objects. I want like ideally a really complex template meta programming system. Do you know what I mean? I want generics. I want all those kind of things. So which is why I like C++ because it gives me everything that I want. But I'd be interested in trying some of those just to get a feel for like how, just get some new ideas. Do you know what I mean? AI workflow with NeoVim is like none. I do have I've attempted to have a fill-in middle model since I cancelled Copilot, but it doesn't work very well. I use OhmyPy as an agent when I'm doing agentic things, but at the moment, like I said, I'm just for this project, there is no AI, so none. Rust curious, I guess you could say that. Any plans for using Claude Code? Like for this, absolutely not. Like the whole point of this is we write all the code ourselves. By and large, I mean, I don't use the Anthropic models that much, and I don't use Claude as an agent. I prefer an open source agent, and where possible, open source models. So yeah. Right. What am I descripting with this? Because it's going to need to be able to... This is going to be really complex. And it's going to have to start. So I guess, what transform do I even have? Because I'm going to have to store out both the parent and the local, right? And the applied scale. And something about the shape. Right, let's do matrix for parent transform. Local transform and vector 3 applied scale. That's the cache we need to make the scaling work, if it worked. Okay, fine. So then we can do something like auto description const description. Okay, so this will yield this up, and then we can just start calling this where we need to. I think we'll just see if we can get those three things into the YAML file. It's gonna be the shape is the sticking point. The shape is gonna be the sticking point, yeah. You shouldn't need the parent transform. Should I? think I will, right? No, you're right, because it will come from the parent that I'm attaching it to. Yes, I think you're right. I think I will just need the local one. Let's start off with that. Oh my goodness, yeah, this is going to be such a pain to deserialize working our way through all this. I think this code is going to be a little bit grim. Let's see if we can shove those in a hole, in the YAML hole first. This is where we find that my beautifully reflected system has serious flaws. To be fair, I actually think the reflection code is some of the best code we've written live. Like, I'm generally really pleased about it. I think the how we integrate it is going to be the sticking point. Okay, that was easy. I think there's lots of rooms for things to improve on. Okay, so entity now will have to have a stirred vector of rigid body description. Rigid. Oh, wait a minute. Actually, I don't think this is going to be as bad as I thought, because I've committed the cardinal sin of having global variables, and I can just access the physics system wherever I want. I actually think this might not be too bad. So let's do entity descriptione. So this is going to be, I think we're going to range equals rigid bodies stirred views transform const auto elements return e dot description to stirred ranges to stirred vector. Oh Christ, they're handles, aren't they? Yeah, of course they're bloody handles. Of course they're bloody handles. Right, no worries. Let's do auto physics equals services physics system, and then we can do physics dot rigid body e. It won't like this because this has contracts on it. In fact, actually, this can just be passed by value. Let's give that a, see if that blends. Was it not service? I honestly can't remember. Service, yeah, bottom. Okay. You're right. It is, you return a singular, you get a service. Ugh. Bodies. Pipe to transform. What am I missing? What am I missing? Could not convert this to a description. Some template shenanigans going on here, because I can see it trying lots and lots of different things, and the compiler is very helpfully pointing out all the things it did try and didn't work, which is not the most useful. No, it should return a reference. I think if we... No, I tend to keep I've mentioned this many times. I have 3 tranches in my life: family, work, and content, and I try and keep them all as separate as possible. Services locator definitely returns. Yeah, it returns a tref, so that's not the issue. And yeah, you can see here we dereference the unique pointer. Oh, that's some. Oh, that should be a. That should be a precondition. Anyway, I can get side quest. I don't know. I'm probably not. I'm absolutely. Well, no, I know for a fact I'm definitely not as, as good as a lot of people think. I'm just out here kind of just giving it a go. Case in point, like, what is all this shit? Right, okay. I'll have to just look at the code. Rigid bodies definitely affect. Right, so we definitely got a collection of those. So piping it to stood view. If I got ranges and hang on. We need ranges for a start. I don't know if that's gonna fix it. Oh, is it rigid body? I thought rigid body. No, rigid body returns a reference. Very handily not. Just left it to deduce the. See, a sparse set of rigid bodies, and I think the sparse set returns. No, it returns an optional. It returns an optional. Yes. So that is yes. You are right. Thank you. Okay, so that runs. I'm just trying to work out whether I want to be defensive on that. I probably should, because I don't want to serialize garbage. What I think I might do is actually just, if it doesn't exist, just skip over it. So, and then we can do if const auto rb equals physics dot rigid body e rb return rb description. Something like that. What do we think? Are we thinking something like that? Or just, oh, I'm gonna have to return. Oh no, because it's transform. It's hard to say, really. I think C++ is not going anywhere. I think there's more than enough C++ to keep people entertained for at least the next decade or so, especially as the language evolves and has more of a focus on memory safe opt-in or opt-out, I guess, whichever you want to look at it, memory safety. I think it might become increasingly more difficult to justify writing int main in C++. I think that remains to be seen. I think it's kind of a critical point at the moment. There's also the idea that, I mean, I don't know if this is true, but I've heard claims that LLMs are better at generating Rust code than C++, so which obviously has a factor in on it. Well, no, because I don't want to put anything null here. What I need to do is I could filter it out, but then I'm gonna have to do, because you can't do there's no filter transform, is there? I cannot. There's a projection. Hang on. Oh, I don't want to restart Firefox. It's going to break everything. Right, well, that's gone. C++ views filter. This is like literally the smallest problem. It does have a. Hang on. What button am I going to press? Am I going to press this button? Great. Absolutely crushed it. Give me a second. Apologies. Just fix that super quick. So the range is the filter view object, right? That's why you have two, right? One's an object, one's a function, which returns the object. Does that have a predicate? Oh, that's a predicate, not projection. I really want like filter transform. Does take while. Might have to use a boomer loop, which I really, really don't want to do. I feel like this is. This is annoying me now. Because I need to. Oh, hang on. That's fine. This is a separate. Shouldn't be any two. This is the Firefox profile I have for streaming, so there shouldn't be anything in here that I don't want people looking at. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to return the optional. All right. Yes, okay, we're going to return the optional. We're then going to std views filter const auto e, and we're only going to return if the e has the value, okay? And then we're going to do std views transform again, taking the optional. And then we're going to return e description and pipe that into this. I think this doesn't look right. What is going on? Transform filter. There you go. I think that's what we want. I could get the one, because we have to go via this, I could filter them out before, but then I'd have to then go back through the service to get them out again, if that makes sense. To answer your question, I'm going to do it with pointers because this is the way I was always taught. Like, the question is like, is there any difference between those, right? And like, should you have a preference over them? And I would say they are the same, but the preference for me is, so the only reason I do it one way over the other is because of this particular reason. And this is the thing you should never do, but it's the only justification for picking one over the other. So even though the justification is in and of itself kind of wrong, there is no evidence I have for the other one, which is, what does this declare? Right? Versus what does this declare, right? And what does this declare? I mean, they do the same thing, right? They both declare a pointer to an int and then an integer. But I would argue this first one, it looks like you're getting 2 pointers. And I'd say the second one is a little bit clearer that you're getting the pointer and then the integer. So given that, and literally no other justification, I prefer this. However, the golden rule is don't declare more than one variable on the line anyway. So it's kind of a moot point, but in the absence of any other justification, that's why I picked that one. So okay, right, let's see if this blends now. It's certainly language design. Yeah. Oh, I think we can get the bonsai tree back. Yeah, it's because the modification the modification is part of the variable name, not the type. So adding a star is saying that this variable is now a pointer, not that you're not adding it to the type, you're adding it to the variable. That is a very loose, kind of loosey-goosey way of looking at it. But yeah. Okay, so that gives us a thing. So now now that we've got entity description going up, I think that should now go into the YAML file, right? Because entities is now serialized, the scene is now serialized. I think we just call save and see what happens. Just do it. Yeah, but like, let's break it first and see what happens. I may kind of patch it to ignore missing rigid bodies. Do you know what I mean? Because especially now that our YAML serializer returns expected, I can be like, I may be able to ignore that for now. I have thoughts on that. Let me get right to that. Oh god no! Oh god no! I didn't want to do that at all. I did not want to move this object. Hang on, let me start again. Right. Right. There are two ways of playing. Obviously, because it's C++, there's more than one way of doing anything, right? Obviously, these are both the same. Okay. You've got affectionately known as const west and east const. Okay. The argument for this is that it is entirely unambiguous because the rules of the language state that const is left binding. Const binds to the thing on the left. So this says const int, right? And then there's the addendum to the rule, which is if it is the thing on the left, it binds right. This is important for stuff like pointers. So int const, hang on, let me get it right. Const z, right? You read right to left. So z is a constant pointer to a constant integer. So this is a pointer that I cannot reseat and I can only read through, right? The argument for this is that you have to use this in some of these situations like this. So therefore you should always use it because it is entirely unambiguous. And I get it. This way to me reads better in English. I would read a constant int rather than an int that is const. And that is my justification for that. This reads better, and personally I've been doing C++ for a little bit now, and like the ambiguity here doesn't stress me out because I just know you read from right to left. That again is my opinion. The most important thing is that you're consistent within the code base, not necessarily within the left binding rules. Anyway, let's try that again. I know. I just literally just said that. There's a difference, like, if it's pointer. Yes, I've seen it, and most of them are wrong or, like, nebulous at best. I kind of lost a lot of... That video kind of lost me a bit in terms of credibility when it started complaining about the Win32 API, which is a C API and has nothing to do with WG21 or the C++ language or committee. So I kind of felt like it was padding at that point, in which case I kind of I struggled to take it seriously. There's some generally in that video, there were some valid points. I think there's a lot of invalid points. Okay, right, let me add this. Let me select this now. Let me move this over here. I'm going to click save. And okay, certainly saved it. Let's quit that. Let's see if... Okay, so we definitely got... I don't know why it's changed the intensity of that. Oh, interesting. Because the coroutine ticks and changes that intensity, it's obviously serialized whatever the snapshot was at that point. That's really interesting. I wonder if that's going to cause us issues. I've got DAP set up in this. Okay, so that's, let me just actually, I think we just want to look at this scene YAML file, right? So where did we, rigid bodies, okay. I mean, that's not great. that seems pretty good. Like, it's not perfect, but I think it's quite good for stream, and the way my new stream setup, where I kind of lock OBS to specific windows, it's now much harder for me to flip. I would have to have VS Code set up on another button on my stream deck, and I'm already kind of out of buttons, so I kind of like it. I don't think I've used it much outside, but actually I've been doing some more Linux programming, so I've just been using GDB, which honestly I would just rather use GDB. I am curious about this because I'm pretty sure there's be 16 floats in my matrix class, not a tilde. I am shocked that it at all serializes. What's it doing? Which of these concepts need tidying up as well, because they're all a bit of a mess, and I don't think I've constructed these in the best possible way. I think I want to additively handle them, because I'm pretty sure if the compiler can match against two concepts, but one has more things in it and it passes all of them, I think that is considered a better match rather than ambiguity. The thing is, like, I don't really want to have to handle too many of like special classes, but like, yeah, I don't see, because let's look at matrix, right? This needs tighten up as well. All this stuff should be going in this should all be underneath it. But anyway, yeah, it's a private, yeah, so it's not going to know. One Effective C++ is my favorite C++ book, like hands down. I'm just really gutted it stopped at 14 and he retired, because it's absolutely my favorite C++ book. What is the correct? There's two approaches here. One is to don't serialize matrix 4 directly, instead serialize the array of floats, which then puts the onus on the caller to know that that float array is a matrix, and potentially, and would have to, in their deserialization code, handle that. The other is to make an explicit exception for matrix 4 in our serializer, which then removes all the burden from the user. I think that's the correct choice. I want the ergonomics. Like, the whole point of reflection and all this stuff is to make my life easier, and the whole point of the serializer is to make my life easier. So I think the correct thing is just to say, if it's a matrix 4, then we'll just handle it directly. So I think if I go to YAML serializer, exactly, we still need to know, because like, then how do I disambiguate between an array of floats and a matrix 4? So I think, which is like, I would like it to be purely reflection based, like just instantly know everything about all the classes, but I just don't think you can get away with it in this sense. I don't think I want to template it either, because a function overload is a better match than a templated match. So I think I should be able to just do, like, under all this gubbins here. I know I don't want to do it. Probably before, because class is kind of like the main one. Let's if I do auto do serialize const matrix 4 obj third expected YAML node stud string. It's true. I've been to CPCon before, and I've attended a couple of WG21 meetings as well, like the standards committee, both in person and remote. Okay, so I can't remember how any of this works now. So I'm going to want... It's basically going to be the same as array. I think. But I don't need to serialize the inner objects. I think I can just hard code. So for auto, I don't need any of this. Is there a range here? Yeah, I think so. We're going to have this node here, and then do I create a child node within that, or is that just going to have the elements off of it? And can I do like node dot? I do pushback. I don't think I can do like. What is? Oh, hang on. Whoa. Hang on. Right. Return. Bear with me. Oh, I don't know if this is going to work. Obj. Dot. Data. Third ranges 2. YAML node. Because it is I need a string where. Because this is a range, and node is a range. The constructor for stood expected will assume that if you pass it the first templated type, then it is the success and it will take that. So you only have to convert, only for a string, you'd have to return a stood unexpected and then a string, and then that's how it matches into it. I think just build it and see what happens, right? Aaron, not written any serialization code yet. Doing, it was too good to be true. It's too good to be true. I wonder what's the criteria. What's the criteria for stood ranges 2? Which someone pointed out to me is the worst name in the world, because it's based on the library called ranges v3, and now I have a function in the standard library called ranges 2, and it's just very confusing. No, it should. I don't think I need to convert it. It should. Well, I'll double check, but yeah, I don't think that's the issue. I think what I want to know is the range conversion function constructs a new non-view object from a source range as its first argument by calling constructor taking a range to tagged pet range constructor taking iterated central pet or by back inserting each element of the source range into the arguments. That's what I want. I want that. I want to do that for me. How do I get that? Otherwise, the return expression is equivalent to. I don't want that. Where's the. Here we go. What's this? To contain returns a perfect. Oh, that's easy to read. Which one am I using? So I'm using ranges 2. And then it's not a, but Why does it require C to not be a range? Sorry, not to be a view. That's fine. It's not a view. Oh, I was really hoping that would work. That's not templated in and of itself, is it? No. I wonder if it has to be based on constructor rather than pushback. Lame. So instead, can I do? Oh, I might just have to do it in a loop. I just don't really want to. You know what I mean? I just don't. I just feel like I shouldn't. Can I use back inserter? Can I copy it? Hang on. Right, this is what I'm doing for the next hour, by the way, is figuring out how to make this into like 2 lines of code. Third ranges, copy, obj.data, instead back inserter node. I feel like that's probably so close to working. Oh, hang on. Sorry. Basically, trying this. I feel like it's got to be close to working. I wonder if it's because it's not a proper pushback. It's got no value type. I bet because it's templated. It's because it's templated. All right, what methods if I... that's really lame, that. No, wait a minute, hang on. It's got nothing to do with the backends. Can you not... Yeah, okay, fine. What's back inserter doing? Am I going to write my own super lightweight back inserter? Is that where we're at now? It has to be an iterator though, doesn't it? Oh, and it can't construct the iterator because it hasn't got a value type. Damn you, YAML code. Oh, right, give me a second. I need to think. I'm convinced this is possible to do in a really nice way. So I believe, okay, also cheeky, that should be a reference. I'm pretty sure a non-templated function overload is considered a better match than a templated one. So I think the compiler will actually, when it's doing the overload resolution and removing them from the overload set, when it's left with this and a templated one, I'm pretty sure this has precedence. Like, I think that's kind of a core part of it. We'll soon find out when it all explodes. How do I avoid this loop? Could I don't really like any of this, but I could do std ranges for each node const auto. Hang on. Object. Not sure that's any better, to be honest. So many capture sets. Okay. redo. I have this set as a flag. I'm actually kind of worried that these should be on the lib and not the. Do you know what I mean? Like, should those not be on lib? Oh my goodness, have I made a massive mistake here? Always were error. Always were error. Missing declarations. But I've got well, no missing declarations. What more do you want from me? Oh, it's in the bloody tool, isn't it? That's why. Oh, it's really rude. But that would solve all my issues. I'm not shipping this to anyone else. Maybe I'll make it easy for myself. The issue there being that I've basically set flags on the library, so if you consume that library, you have to adhere to those flags. Oh, why is loads of errors? Oh my goodness. So there's stuff in the tests as well. And see, this is why you don't do that, because now all the tests have errors. Okay, fine. Let's undo that, because that is wrong. Let's get rid of all that. And then do tool CMake. Oh, it's because it's missing. It's just missing from here. Is that it? Is that literally it? All my misery being because I've just missed it off that one place. I'm not that fussed about fun roll loops. I just let the compiler get on with it until I profile it. Emit frame pointer, I kind of go back and forth on. There is an argument that it makes the debugging experience better. So, sorry, no. Actually, if anything, you probably want no emit frame pointer to make debugging better, right? Or at least in a debug, so you can reconstruct the stack frames. In fact, in our custom profiler, I think I have to handle the edge case where you are on a leaf node and don't have the frame pointer. If this could just go and do one. Why are you? It's because it is on the lib. Oh, it's so annoying. Like, why have I've made a real hash of this CMake code, by the way. So I can only apologize. I really don't like this. I'm gonna fix this. Oh no, wait a minute, hang on. What have I done? It is already on the lib. But no, I don't. What am I doing? What am I doing? Oh, so it's literally not in here. Wait, didn't we just see that? Why is it there and not there? I don't know. Frame pointers are, I think, relevant on Win32 if you want to use alloc, which I think is quite a niche usage of it. But no, you don't need to. Like, you're not having to save that pointer like you were in 32-bit. Linking error, hey. Oh, haha, fun one, because it's not a template. I don't automatically get internal linkage. Sorry, it doesn't automatically become in line. I think like 20 people dropped off Twitch then, just because I literally don't know what I'm doing. Right. Okay, let's run this and then let's save it. Hopefully it'll overwrite it. It's not deserializing it. Oh, is it deserializing at the moment? Okay, it seems alright at the moment, so that's certainly not brought anything. Right, so let's add a rigid body, move this here, and then click save. And then rigid. Oh man, it's even worse. Why am I getting... Also, it seems to have changed the line endings. I'm not quite sure why, so now everything in this file has changed, which is, like, not great. I do want to add control support, yeah, but it's very much a nice to have. At the moment, I'd set off just be able to serialize the scene. What happened there? There's no rigid body. Let me just run that again. Yeah, but I don't understand why. I've not changed any of the logic for writing files or anything. You know what I mean? I've literally just said, can you just, if you get given a matrix 4, can you just handle it, please? So add the rigid body, I can't bother to move it, and then save. Look at that, it's really... I guess this is clever enough. Oh, there you go, look at that. Don't know what happened there. Right, now if I change the local transform now, right, so let's see if we can, let's click that, add that, that should auto select it, fix that at some point in my life, add that there, then save, then go. I wonder if I have like change the line endings on my check-in, so when I commit it, it's like fine, question mark. Okay. Yeah, that looks like a translation vector to me. Okay. That'll do. Not enamored. I'm not too upset. Yeah, well, let's figure out this. So this is going to be do deserialize, and then let's do it below the where do I do the class sparse class. So let's do auto. Nope, let's try again. Let's do inline auto do deserialize const matrix 4. Nope. Nice try. EML node. Given a node, which I know has a matrix in it, can I give back an expected matrix 4 or a string? So I think this is just going to be very similar to the array one without doing all the internal. I think I just iterate over it. So I might be able to do const auto vowels equals, but I bet you can't do this. Oh, no, because it needs to be an array, isn't it? Never mind. So I'm going to do auto array. Sorry. Values equals stirred array float 16u. I mean, the best way to learn any language is just to like write lots of the language, which I know doesn't sound particularly useful advice, but I would definitely like find small projects that you're interested in, like rewrite some like small like Linux command line tools, or like ray tracing in a weekend is great, sort of networking, and just sort of like start to feel out where the sharp edges of the language are, of which there are many. Well, the problem is that the carry operator is overused because this is how you declare an anonymous function, I think it is, or an anonymous block in Objective C++, which is the horrific Frankenstein amalgamation of Objective C and C++. And whilst Objective C++ does not necessarily fall within the remit of WG21, they took the view that adding a operator that did that would break everyone's Objective C++, and there is non-zero amount of it, so that's why they went for the 2. But this is how you return a type into a stud meta info. Okay, so given that, can I stud... I think I'm gonna have the same issue, right? But I can't do node values. Oh, so annoying. Why people don't write range first code, people? What can I do with a node? Yeah, attempt to not write a loop. Well, it does have an iterator, but who knows what that iterator is? It's going to be either template. I suppose it's going to have some sort of type erasure, or be templated. Iterator base is templated on a forward declared value. Okay. Sure. Iterator base, is that just CRTP though? Oh no, here's to store that as a reference. Oh. Can I do stud begin node, stud end node? What do you not like about that? I bet Matrix doesn't support just constructing it from an array either. Missing header. Could be. Maybe all my woes are because I fundamentally lack the... And I got Ronges. I guess algorithm. I just don't think this YAML library is conducive to ranges. Yes, well, pray that you never have to use Objective C++ because it's I've used it before and it is strange. Right. This is a lot of words for like something doesn't work. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's an awful lot of words. Could you tell me exactly what you don't like? So in requirements without being the stud back insert array, the iterator value requires out t. The required expression star dunder o equals forward of tp t is invalid. Why is that invalid? Because it's invalid. I wish you could expand some of these template types for me. Like, it's giving me all the text for nothing actually particularly useful. This is what's going to happen inside the back inserter, right? It's going to go through, or at least within the copy, it's going to assign to the out. So O here will be the output operator, or output iterator, right? In fact, look, we can see here, out is the back inserter. So it's going to do start that. So that'd be well formed as far as I can tell, because back inserter should work on a stood array. Like, I'd be absolutely be wild if it didn't. So it doesn't like forward TP of T. Now, TP is the iterator value, so it cannot forward iterator value. Oh, is it because it doesn't have an iterator value? Or the iterator value is going to be some sort of type arrays thing because of the way the ARM works? I think that's why. Okay, fine. I got there in the end. I just don't think it's going to work. For const auto e in node. I probably can't even use a numerator, can I? Auto it equals stood values start iter equals e. Why is it not like this? Why? I don't understand what I'm doing wrong. If I'm being totally honest. How do I do it? So eventually I must get a value, right? Oh, node as. Oh, that's going to give me another node, isn't it? So I reckon I need to do e.as float. That's why it doesn't like it. It uses the whatever miserable type array it has inside. Okay, I got it. I mean, a range-based for loops to C++ 11, like it's 20, no, it's 15 years old now. Do I like it? No. Am I going to accept it? Yes. Do I need a precondition on this to check the size? Yes, because this is user-generated code. So I need to do precondition node dot. Oh my goodness, can I even get this? I think this might actually be contract assert. Contract. Actually, no, this is user input, so we should just do if iter equals stood ranges end values. Return stood expected. Too few values in matrix. Is it gonna work that out? I think it's gonna work that out. Okay. Too many. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. I just don't know what I'm doing. Okay. So now I need to fix this hot mess, which means going over to matrix and. Oh no, it should. But it does not. Chosen constructor is explicit in copy. Ugh, lame. Yeah, I guess that is. Yeah, you are probably right. I guess. Fine. Sure. Okay, so now that we can deserialize that, let's start working our way. Well, shoot, I can deserialize it. Like, I should have written the code for it. Let's start working our way back to. Actually, to be honest, we probably should commit to the serialization stuff first, right? Don't think I need that. Serialize. Okay, commit. Serialize rigid body, question mark. Okay, so now let's finish off the deserialization. So let's go to the tippity top. So main, somewhere in here we create a scene object, like absolutely who knows where. So here's where we get the scene description. And then we pass the scene description into scene along with all some other gubbins as well, which for some reason doesn't get serialized. Okay, sure. I suppose window width and height may change depending on, you might be loading the game on a different PC or whatever. So yeah, it does make sense. Okay, so scene. I want the constructor that takes the description, which is this one. Okay, so it builds up the entity cache. I'm still not sure how I feel about this, but it's there. Right, here's what I care about. It goes through all the entities and then checks if they're cached or not, because that's the only way I can actually build it back. Because the cache, I think, populates the GPU memory with the big global buffer of all the vertex data and all the textures and the binary textures. I think. Oh God, it's so long since I've looked at this. That should be a contract to serve. I'll change that later. And then interesting. This is probably why it doesn't fail on deserialization, because we're not actually. Oh, interesting. Okay, fine. So the entity itself isn't constructed from the description. We pull the description out because we have to put it by the cache. That's right. And then we set the specific bits that we care about from the entity description. So entity description should have rigid bodies, right? So, oh, does that... How do I defragment my vertex buffer? I don't. It's just one big vertex buffer loaded at when the game starts. Like there's no streaming. It's just all in there, and then everything is just offsets. Okay. For const auto RB description in entity description dot rigid bodies. This might not be too bad. That's not a star, that's a reference. Okay, right. This is actually going to work out, I think, almost a little bit too easy. So I'm prepared for this to explode out horribly. Entity, you can add a rigid body to at any time. So we just need to create a rigid body. So we should be able to do that from the description. So let's go to the physics system. I'm going to assume exactly. I'm going to assume everything is a box for now, and defer worrying about how to serialize the shape until later. But so that gets the rigid box. So I think what I should be able to do is do auto create, like a top level create rigid body, and have a const rigid body description. Oh, this could be nice. This could be nice. Could even have this take a vector of them, but whatever. And then that'll give you a rigid body handle. Okay, right. So at runtime, I can, or during the editor, that I need a new box mate. Or when we're setting anything up, like, I've got this description of a thing, right? Can you do physics things and give me back a handle to it? Yes, probably both, I guess. Like, it's less bookkeeping, but I mean, it's probably performance, right? Because the convenience of just like allocating a buffer exactly the size you need is not that much of an inconvenience. In fact, actually making sure you got all the offsets right in the thing and then kind of plumbing that into everything else and kind of maintaining that is actually easy for me because I don't want to do streaming and I don't ever want to change it. If you do want to change it, then it's less convenient. So, but performance I don't think I fully take advantage of the performance either. We need to definitely go back and do some more performance tuning on the rendering side later. Like, I still don't think my MDI buffer is produced efficiently. My command buffer, sorry, is produced efficiently, and I definitely don't take advantage of the fact that static things never change. So, remembering to, yes, and stuff like that as well. Yeah, so there's lots to do, but for now we must physics. Okay, physics body create box. Okay, right. So now I'm hoping I can just call create bot. Oh, I don't serialize whether it's static or not. Which means that, but the rigid body doesn't know. Come back to that. Come back to that. So can I return create box description dot? Oh, I'm gonna need the ABB, which means I am gonna have to serialize some shape information. God damn it. I'm just gonna fill in like blank, like noddy values. Where I call create box, what do I use as the AAB? So I do that. Okay, fine. So let's do, because this is what it starts off at. So obviously this absolutely will not handle scale. But anyway, description dot. Oof. This is getting hairy. I thought it was gonna be easy. Description dot local transform. So get that and then do transform dot position and then oh. I've thought about it, but I don't really have the time to do it at the moment, so possibly not. I'm kind of eliding the. Let's just get this working, and then I'm gonna regret not doing this now. But I just wanted to see if I can get this working. And then scene, where we at? And then I can do const auto rb equals service physics system dot create rigid body rb. Clangd has given up. No. Oh no, there we go. I don't need the arrow there because this is a reference and this returns the handle. I'm not actually turning the handle into anything yet. So then new entity dot add rigid body RB. I wonder if add rigid body should set transform. Because it has to do this, right? This should probably... actually, it probably just needs to do that on the... I add it, and then do that, I reckon. What do you think? Is this coming back? I just have experience in OpenGL, like not loads, and I'm not an expert, but like I still think it's I want to build a native Windows game. I want to do sort of lowish level graphics programming without losing my mind. So OpenGL pretty much ticks all the boxes for me. And also it's as modern as you can get, right? It's 4.6 as though up the wazoo. Add all the real entity first and set transfer. Yes, I think, but the problem is I'm worried that's going to fix. If there's something else in the future we need to add a rigid body after the entity's been created, like it makes sense to make sure that the invariants are held at that point and the rigid body is correctly set. Like I think that would be an optimization, but I think it could lead us open to other bugs. I could be wrong. I think I'd rather just pay the cost and know it's set at that point. Oh, look, it's there. I was shocked. Right, so if I move this to like here, right, and I save that back, should we see if it comes back? Oh, it's not restoring the transform, is it? It should be. I've got VSync on, or at least I've not turned it off, so it should be. It's locked at 60 FPS. No, because you set the parent transform and not the local. Is that a problem with physics system then? Should I be doing... Just realized, no, this is thread safe. And do it's guilty knowledge, but I do now know this is going to be the last one. Oh, it's sparse set. Oh, I can't do that. Okay, fine. I will have to do it the hard way. So let's do rigid bodies handle set local transform pretty sure I can assume it's going to be there. Like, I've created it and then I'm not giving it to anyone yet. I'm pretty sure it's going to be there. Why is it on the new line? I don't know. I'll have to have a look at it. I didn't see it. Okay. Oh, I'm sweaty. All right, that did not do what I was hoping it would do. Average body. Let me just check its date. Save. Oh, why is it on a new line? As in generally, I just prefer this style. I'll just set the parent transform there. Nope. Okay. Let's check the actual data's there. And that's definitely column major. We've definitely moved it, right? We've definitely moved it left and back towards us because that's the X, Y, and Z components. So why is that not percolating down? What have I missed? What have I missed? It's either not being set or something is overwriting it. I don't know which one's more terrifying. I suppose what we could do is just follow it through in the debugger. Am I here? Okay. Okay, so let's step in. Where am I? No, I don't, what, help. What? That button does not do what I thought it did. Main thread. Okay, let's try. Stop. Okay, fine. Ignore that. Pretend that didn't happen. Should be the transform of the parent entity. The setting parent transform is wrong. Okay, we might have a. Oh, I need to set it here, don't I? Is that right? Oh, I'm glad all these windows have hung around. Hang on. Don't serialize the parent transform. Yes, okay. I thought I... Okay, right, I think I see what you mean. So... Here... Do I then do RB... No, I set it here, don't I? I set the parent transform to the entity's parent transform. Because the entity knows where it is, and we've already set the entity transform here, right? Which we've pulled out. Let me see if I can wrangle the debugger. I think this is at a bad time. Nothing is happening. And then I've just ended up with all these useless windows. Hang on. It's good when it works. It's absolutely dog shit when it doesn't. Okay. Save that. FN F5. It seems to have lost the path to the executable, which is not great. Source bleh. Source debug FPS. See if that works. Well, it's launched it this time. Okay, we're here. So let's step in, then step out, then step in, and then shake it all about. Transform is interesting. The local transform's got no data in it. Why is that? Deserializing must. Oh, it's got a scale of 1. What? Yeah, look at that. It's got no. No, it's not. Oh, what's going on? Okay, let's try this. Luckily for us, there's nothing else. I probably should have written some tests for the AML serializer, if I'm being totally honest with you. But in the deserialize here, there's nothing else going on, so we should be all right to break here, and this will be the only invocation of this serialize. If we hit it. Okay, interesting. We've hit here without hitting the matrix 4 deserializer. So the question is, what have we deserialized and why has it picked that up? It is a class, but it's not. Why has it not picked that up? It should. I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure. A non-template function takes precedence in overload resolution. Yes. Non-template functions are first-class citizens. A plain old non-template function that matches the parameter types as well as any function template will be selected over an otherwise just as good function template. I think I rendered a rainbow triangle. So yes. Why is that not being hit? Ooh, how curious. Can we break on the scene? Ooh, hello. I guess these live here now. Right. Deserialize. I wonder if we can break here. Build source debug and step through and see what it's doing. You're not incrementing iter. Oh! Oh my, yes, you are right. It doesn't explain why the breakpoint's not hit, but I've just seen what you've. Yes. Oh yes, yes, yes. That's so funny. What a great catch. This is why you should use ranges. If ever there was the poster child for why you should use someone else's loop. I really hope this fixes it, because that is an excellent catch, but also that would have taken me bloody ages to find. Oh god, it's hot. Right, okay. Where am I? I've gone through the wrong tunnel. Hang on. Still not moved, unfortunately, but it was definitely an problem I was going to have. I still feel like this is not being hit. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it's not hitting this. Why is it not hitting this? Oh, oh, what a fool! What a fool! This needs to be a template. Otherwise, how's he going to know what type it's deserializing? Right? Because you have to pass it in a matrix 4 type, right? Can I? Oh my goodness. How's this going to work? Is this even possible? A bit worried what. I bet it was finding one of the other ones, like class or something, and then was then it. I bet it was then iterating through all the public members, of which it had none, and it was like, this is an empty class, and maybe there's like some sort of weird string thing in there that was putting like a tilde or something. I don't know if I can. I can't fully specialize template functions, can I? Oh, this is gonna be an absolute ball ache. I'm gonna have to turn matrix 4 into a concept. Which is actually not too bad, because Byakuaz, it's not templated in and of itself. Did that crash because I caught the exception? The problem with this new system I've got is it doesn't capture stood out very well. Oh no, I think this is fine. I think we're onto a winner here. I think this is just going to work. I think it's just going to work. Bish bash bosh right at the end. Someone fixed the bug before I even triggered it. Because it's looking for a specialization of that template, because it'll do angle bracket of splice T or whatever it is, or type of T. Like that, it's moved. Boom. Did I put it there? Did I put it there? Button. For to add buttons for the existing rigid bodies. What do you mean? Like I can select it here, right? I can now move it over here. Could add an inline. Could add inline on temp. Could you add inline? The base template doesn't have it. Could you add inline on template specialization? You don't need inline on templates because they are inherently inlined, right? They don't violate ODR, so you can probably add it, but it's redundant. Let me just see if I can like stick this at like a jaunty angle and save, and then back, and then run that again. is a good place to end. I didn't get quite, as always, didn't get quite as much done as I hoped. But look at that, we're doing it. So I think the next thing is, can I add another rigid body? Stick him like up. Oh, I suppose that works. So those stay in line. Have I aligned him correctly? The stars aligned. Yeah. Okay. Fine. Okay, so I should be able to select the second rigid body and move him up like there, and then save that. It's getting there. It's getting there, my friend. It is getting there. Right. Click that. Press that. Go this. Don't go that way. Go this way. Okay. Then we just got to fix the scale issue. And that's just plumbing, as far as I can tell. I'm just not plumbing that in correctly. Right, so if I click this, can I... What if I scale him out? And what if I click this, and scale this out? All right, and then save that. Go back. Oh God, yeah. Why would you ruin this moment for me? Why would you ruin this moment for me? I'm probably not going to until we have to add another shape. That is pretty lazy. Oh no, it looks pretty scaled to me. I think the issue is if I move this right, don't they snap back? Oh, okay. If I fix this, is this done? Are we winning? No, okay, fine. That's the issue. Is it loses its scale when you go to change this back. So if I click this, and then move him. Right, okay, so I think that's the only sticking issue now, right? That, and yeah, we should plumb in shape. I don't want to, it's so much work. But we will need, like, for instance, oh, I have moved this down, okay. This here probably needs like a cylinder collider around it, right? That would probably make more sense than a box. Might get away with a box. And then okay. We are getting there. Right, I'm pleased with that. I think that's a good endpoint. Try and remember to fix that next stream. So let's see where we at. Where are we at? So this is now create rigid body from description, mostly. Deserialize matrix 4, and then these are deserialize rigid bodies. I never know, like, I never know how to pluralize class names, because the class name is very specifically rigid body with a capital R and B, so that is misleading. Not it. That's fixing warning. These are all like just hangovers from other bits and pieces I've done. I'll leave that now so we can check next time that it still loads. This is LazyGit. Well, technically, LazyGit is a CLI tool. This is the NeoVim plugin, which brings LazyGit up in a new window. But there's nothing to stop you doing LazyGits like that. I've customized the colors and stuff, obviously. Okay, let's do stream 55 45? 45? 45 streams. Stick that in the Git hole, and I think there's goodies. I think there's free gifts. Right. Good stream, everyone. Much progress, some progress was made. Okay. So, whether you saw it or not, I don't know. For some reason, that particular action doesn't pop into my new overlay, which is a little bit annoying. All the others do. 5 free 1 month memberships on YouTube gifted. Congrats. There is early access to videos, but I'm pretty far away from doing a new video. There's a secret room on Discord, which no one really uses, but maybe you can be the change that you want to see in this world. Maybe you can revitalize that. Other than that, it's a bit of fun. I think that's what I've got. Thank you very much again for spending some of your Sunday with me. Very much appreciated. I think today was a good stream. I would consider a good stream. I think we solved some bugs. We had some fun. We wrote some code. I wrote some bugs. Someone spotted my bugs. I wrote some ranges. I didn't write some ranges. So next stream. So Wednesday, I've got to be in and around a bit for work over the next few weeks. So I'm still planning on streaming Wednesdays, but there is a chance that, given the miserable state of British Rail, I'll be delayed. So I might have to cancel Wednesdays at short notice, but hopefully not. I think next stream, because I don't think I'll have a lot of time to be working between now and then, we'll probably try and fix the scaling issue. I think that's important to do. Mock out, and then we need to check that duplicate works, because what I want to be able to do is basically put the rigid bodies around a specific object, duplicate it, and have those rigid bodies duplicate as well, so then we can make like long corridors quite easily. And then we're going to be writing a character controller. Like, I really don't think we're that many streams away from having to from that misery. So yeah, we'll be soon getting to that. And then once the character controller's done, kind of put a lid on physics for a bit and go do something else fun, like shooting. Which actually we will have to use Jolt, because I plan on using Jolt's accelerated internal structures for doing raycasting. Exactly. We got to be doing that soon. Like, we're nearly 50 streams in and we have not even rendered a gun yet, which is wild. But think of all the progress we made. Anyway, thank you very much for spending your time with me. I've enjoyed it greatly. I will see you all anon.